Okay, so today we're going to talk about legal and the legal aspects of startup. Now, actually, just want to ask your thoughts, right? When we talk about legal, every startup they always say first, right? Forget about the legal stuff. Is get revenue, get money in first, right? And I think with us as well, we don't really do this even with our partners and people we work with. Like, oh, let's just do this thing. Let's just get started, right? But my idea is when you don't have a strong legal starting point, right? The whole business starts off fine, but it doesn't have strong foundations. Correct? What do you think about it? Maybe share your thoughts.
Yeah, but you can also go on the other spectrum where people say, hey, I'm not going to talk to you until we have all paperwork signed and then we don't get any business done, right? So at the end of the day, it's which you don't have to choose one side of the spectrum. Maybe you can find somewhere in the middle where it makes most sense in the legal / our partnership foundation side of things. Plus also, while not neglecting on actually running the business. What do you think?
I think it's ultimately, right, if you spend a lot of time with a person, okay, and if you don't have your legal side sorted out, right, what it means is that you run the risk that down the road you have disagreements and you have no way to solve it properly.
Yeah. So a legal agreement is you can go. It can be a simple 1 or 2 page document, just highlighting the high level facts, right? Or it could be you can go in depth to cover like freaking 10 pages, every single scenario. What if one guy doesn't come to work? What if one guy starts doing another business on the back? There's a lot of different scenarios that the legal framework has to capture, right? Because in the beginning, everything is sunshine and rainbows, right? Everyone's, and in the future, you don't know what's going to happen in the future. In the future, maybe the business is not doing well, or in another case, the business is doing too well, right? And someone wants a bigger chunk of it.
Actually, if I can ask you, and let me know your thoughts. But as I think about legal, is that the ultimate god tier, perfect legal framework for every startup? Perfect one.
Yeah.
Standardized across every single business. Simple rule. Never have all legal frameworks, 100% of them, never have founders, maybe 50-50. Let's just say that was the rule, let's just say, right? Or, make sure somebody has a more controlling stake. So in the event deadlock, something happens. So always use a third party mediator to resolve deadlock. These are standard rules
These are all standard, yeah. So if we go back to the Pareto principle side of things, most of the legal structure and framework whereby co-founders or partners or anyone signing agreements, right? Yeah. If you're talking just setting up business, because there's a lot of contracts, a lot of agreements that involve the law. Sometimes you have to hire people. Sometimes you have to, I don't know, right? Give employees stock options. This all involves a legal structure. But if we're just solely talking on a co-founder / shareholders agreement side of things, or even in fact, more investors investing in you, right? There's a ton of templates out there that we can use. So what do you think about that? Why don't people just stick to those templates? Just change the names to your names and your partner's name, and that's it.
No, that's the point, right? Those templates are fine. Then again, it really depends. When you say a ton of templates, I think there's templates out there, but there's not a lot of very good, solid templates. I give you an example. Recently, we worked with some law firms and we see their contracts. I doubt templates out there are as detailed as those contracts.
Yes, because those contracts are... No, but if you look at it, right, if one... Just think of it this way. If there's one legal person who's able to do that, I'm pretty sure the template is out there somewhere. It's just up to... So the lawyer is someone who has to help us understand. And one thing about that very comprehensive legal contract that we looked at by this legal firm done by actual professionals, right? It's not very understanding friendly. It's a lot of jargons everywhere. It's very hard to understand. So I guess the legal...
But actually, it's not easy to understand. But yes, their language could be changed easier. But yes, every line is important, right? Even the whole thing is one whole contract you can read. But even if you miss out one small line, it can impact the whole thing.
Oh yes, because
that's the dangerous part about these contracts is that it looks fine on the high level, but if you go to the fine print, whoa. You don't see something. A lot of
little things,
right?
Yeah.
Like, if this guy has a voting right and the voting right allows him to get super majority and the super majority allows him to kick you out of the company.
Yeah. So this one line itself kind of rules off everything already.
Because the one line can be like, you can say something like, okay, all of us have equal partnerships. Oh, good, sounds nice. Oh, by the way, Ming has the ability to vote in independent board director, and so happen independent board director has the ability to remove, not even to appoint a chairman, and so happen the chairman has the ability to control deadlock, and so happen once you can go in deadlock situation, you can get out of deadlock by indirectly having a super majority, which indirectly allows me to kick you out of business.
Yeah.
When the original rule says I cannot kick you out of business, fine,
Yeah.
but I can voting by independent director. Independent director can appoint chairman. Chairman can then
Exactly.
Is that-
exactly
and it's like,
you're
how
thinking
do
so
you-
far away.
Yeah, because every small action, because that's what the contract says. The contract says, in the event someone is a deadlock, okay, the chairman has the voting rights to break the deadlock. Who can appoint a chairman? Oh, by the way, the other guy can appoint a chairman, right? So I'm like, wow, it cascades all the way down.
Oh,
Like,
exactly.
it's the
No,
chain
we actually,
reaction.
and this is just one example. There's a ton of stuff like that inside the contract. So actually, looking at this, what's the thing that we've learned from doing all this, a lot of contracts? Like, how do we find that sweet balance? Are we actually going to go through? Because I know my friend, right? He launches his own startup. You know him as well. He paid like 6,000-7,000 ringgit, just to do one privacy policy page. It's one terms and conditions page. Obviously, you could argue that, you could lift it off a template, right? But he still had to pay someone to help him, put in the right words to cover his asses in case anything happens.
No, so you cannot templatize something if it's always unique among everybody. Privacy policy, I believe, is very standard, right? Unless he's offering a very unique thing, whatever it is. But privacy policy is a standard thing.
Terms and conditions?
Standard
That's
thing.
not standard because
It's all standard.
No, every business has different terms and conditions. I can say I'm selling this pen now. My terms and condition is I give you a discount. This pen is 1 ringgit now, but then you have to help me wash plates for the next 10 years of your life, right? That's a terms and condition, and that's very customized to my business.
Terms and conditions don't go down to levels of talking about discounts. Terms and conditions say things like very basic things, your warranty cover, whatever. Right?
Your data is protected. No, that's privacy policy,
Okay,
right?
terms and conditions so is technically very standard. As terms and conditions in business is, as the name implies, a very standard. What you just mentioned to me just now was a legal contract when someone signs you join our marketing discount program. Here's a separate contract for you to sign. You always want to have a standard contract. Then you have add-on on top to make it more unique to your business, whatever it is. But you always have a standard contract, the base contract. Same for co-founders agreement. I can tell you right now, we can create a very comprehensive base contract. Anything else can add on top separately, right? So what a lot of startup founders out there is they always have the very base 2-3 co-founders.
No,
They
but
need
the thing
a
is,
score
always you saw a lot of contracts, right? They will say this contract supersedes every other contract.
No, so you of course don't go and sign on a contract that supersedes that contract. But the point being is everybody out there who wants to start a business will have co-founders. All those co-founders are gonna have the same contract. Correct or not?
Both of the co-founders.
Both 2, 3, 4, all of them are gonna generally the contract is gonna be almost 100% the same.
Yes.
100% the same.
Yes,
Then
because
that's it,
the
right?
same rules apply. They have to
Because
agree to all the
fundamentally they
rules.
are co-founders. There's some going to be minority, majority, whatever it is. The contract just makes it generic. Okay, minority shareholders have these rights, majority shareholders has these rights, and that's it, right? So it's a very straightforward agreement. And yeah, there are companies in this field who are doing this. Actually, there is many opportunities to even build products out of it, right? Because clearly the templates, there are templates out there. There is actually a big business, right? Zeagle and PandaDoc or whatever, that they have co-founders agreement templates. I just feel that sometimes maybe it's too high level. A lot of these, they don't give you, and guess what? These agreements are high level because they do so many agreements. So we don't even use 99% of them. They have thousands of agreements, so they cannot afford to go specific on one. But I'm saying, as startup founders, as people doing startups, you just want to zoom in on this few agreements that startups need, that people in new business need, and then you go super crazy on them.
Exactly. Yep.
People will love those more than some guys just generic across I'm everywhere, right?
Yep. And would you say that all these complex legal agreements, we can just find a template for it and then just slot in our information,
Or
customize
we
it?
can find a template for it. If there isn't the perfect template, we can even just pay someone, build one template for us, then we just resell these templates out there, right? So
you wouldn't go for a legal firm, right?
no, go anywhere. My point is, you get a template anywhere, right? You probably will never get free templates. Okay, number one. Number two, a lot of these guys know, like Zeagle and all, they know that everyone just copies a template, right? They know it. So actually their templates, if I can say, their templates are the very bare basics. I think a little bit too basic even. that it will not contain all the real stuff that you need in a proper business. It's more like for fun to add on, for the lawyer to add on top of it. They will never release the top ones. Why? It's just too much work for a lot of templates out there.
So for a new business owner just getting
and how much
started,
they're selling it is so cheap.
no, so for a new business owner just getting started today, what should they do? In the legal side of things, just started. The way you make it sound like it's like forget tech, forget design, forget marketing, forget everything. If you don't have a good legal structure, you're doomed for failure. That's the way you're making it sound right now. So
Yes. Why I say that? Ultimately, you work or you spend your 1,000 hours, or you spend 1 year working with co-founders, and in the back of your mind, I always told them, in my back of my mind, you know that, hey, actually, any one day, he can do something and we can get messed up, right? No, some people may say, you know what, forget all that. I think also it boils down to trust of the person. So what you need a very bare bones basic legal agreement first. Basic one is fine. That's why those templates are fine for basic one. I think if you start going more serious, then you need to up your game and go more serious.
I think the simple one should just have to capture things like, oh, if one guy screws up, what happens, right? He has to sell his shares at what price? At 1 ringgit per share or at market rate? Does he sell it back, right? Can you make him sell, or does he have to voluntarily sell it? And then next, you can go deeper to define how does this person screw up, right? There's a lot of details that we can go inside, right? But on a high level, you can just talk about this.
Yeah, but the thing with legal is that the high level doesn't cover, you have to cover the details. That's the issue.
Yeah.
If you just say, we have a basic agreement. If somebody doesn't perform, they have to sell their shares.
Yeah.
That doesn't do anything.
Unless you know the definition of perform, right?
Yeah, so the issue with legal is that it's either you go super detail all in, or you just don't do it, because if you don't go detail, you just say high level, it doesn't solve any problem, right? How do you mean don't perform? What's high level? Well, I mean, how do you define it, right? So that's the thing with legal.
All the details, yeah.
It has to be detailed, else it's just missing.
No, so basically it's this. Find a template, okay? Write down the custom things between you and your co-founder specific to your business in point form. Hand this over to a lawyer. Ask your lawyer, how many hours do you need to craft this out? Lawyers will tell you, 10 hours. Okay, what's your hourly rate? $100. Just pay them $1,000. Get it done.
Use a very solid template that someone else has provided out there.
But then that goes back to the fact that you have to then tweak the template yourself, and there might be holes here and there that
the template
you don't see.
Already. The template can be as basic as, how many co-founders do you have? I have 3. Okay. What are their names? What are their addresses? And then
in fact, it could be a web platform asking you all these questions, right? And then it just generates the damn template.
It generates
the contract for you.
And even generates it generates a fair balanced template with all the details in there. Boom. That's it. You don't have to talk to anyone, do anything, because the template says this is the best way for you. The template knows the business better than you. The template says
exactly. It's asking
this is how you should. I don't care what business you're in. This is how best contracts are done, and it's super detailed. And I think the template can have a lot of customization features. Like, okay, do you want somebody to have more voting rights? So you have to tweak the parameters to favor someone more. You can even do that. It's called a favorability metric, right? I want to favor person A more than person B by a factor of 2 to 1 or 3 to 1. So a template has different parameters to favor someone. And it will say, you're favoring this person by giving him, chairman rights, voting rights, but it just sees in simple bullet point form, right? And then you trust the template to do the detail.
All you gotta do is send them bullet point forms. The template's generated automatically for you. You pay a small ass amount because now there's no humans involved. Obviously, if you want to pay a lawyer, it's gonna be like, what, they're gonna quote you 10 hours for a simple contract.
Yes.
If you could do it, and most of it, 99% is templatized. Sounds like
yes.
Yeah, who's doing this currently? I mean, is there a startup doing this?
There's PandaDoc, there's Zeagle. What I've noticed is, and definitely there's a lot of startups out there, definitely, right? The fact that we ourselves didn't find it. I think there's this. I'll give you an example, the employee stock options one, right? It was actually very detailed. I actually went to PandaDoc and I literally copied the entire document over. It was a very detailed agreement, very detailed, right? I think a lot of people are doing this already. There is people doing this already actually. So we should leverage on it. Right?
So I think just to summarize this video, I think is going a bit long. Is that law at the legal side of things is very expensive. It's it's necessary for any business or any transactions or any partnerships with anyone.
It needs to be set out in the very beginning.
Yes,
right?
very
Yeah.
beginning, and don't be afraid by it. Don't think, oh shit, it's so messy. This whole legal thing is so foreign to me. Don't be afraid of that. Templates cover 90% of it. All you gotta do is step one, find a template that suits your needs, and you can't run away. For every startup, there's just a few things they have to cover: co-founders agreement, employee stock options, and maybe if you have any other partners, then you have to sign an agreement for them for any form of collaboration you have. Just sign an agreement. Just get a template. Write your specific key points in a few pointers. That's step 2. Take 10, 20 minutes, write it down. That's step number 3. Send it to a lawyer, I guess, if you want to do that. If you're really, I'm referring to those who might be very afraid and very sensitive about this. They say things like, "Oh, I'm not even going to start this business if the contract is not done." For us, we're a bit more.
Yeah, no, I think most
gung-ho. We just
people
go straight for it.
will not go like so that crazy, but they should have a basic thing from the very beginning already. Like even a co-founders informal agreement, right?
Yeah,
just among themselves, not for like, oh, I want to sue you or whatever, but just among to get an understanding. There's
Yeah. Just to be aligned.
informal
Just to be
agreement.
aligned.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
Awesome.